Well, hey there, Lake Grove Church. Pastor Mark McElraith here, and today is December 28th, which means we are near the end of our 365 Bible stories for the year of 2020. We're on story number 362. If you haven't had a chance to read that in your 365 Storybook Bible, go and do that now. It's also the entire book of Hebrews, basically. So I'd like to tell you to run away and go read the entire book of Hebrews, but you don't necessarily have to do that right now. But I encourage you to certainly read through the book of Hebrews. In our story today, we learn that this letter was written to God's people, particularly those Jewish believers who believe in Jesus Christ. And in this case, those new believers were trying to add to what Jesus had done for their salvation. They thought they had to do more things. And this letter was saying, no, it's just about Jesus Christ alone. You don't have to do all those other practices you've learned before knowing Jesus. It's just salvation through Christ alone. It's a great book to understand that we are separated from God, and there's nothing we can really do about that. So in the Old Testament, it was saying that God's people needed to do these things to help be connected with God, to do these things to sort of mitigate that separation that we all have from God. That separation, of course, we call sin. And God was so far off in so many ways. But in the New Testament, then, it said that, yes, we were still separated from God, but in the New Testament, Jesus Christ came to remove that separation for us. So that we don't have to do all of these things. We can just simply claim Jesus Christ, who brings us to Christ himself, heals that separation we have from God. So Christ does that so that we can have a direct relationship with God. So no more separation. And therefore Hebrews, one of the key themes in Hebrews is that we keep our eyes on Jesus Christ alone. That is one of the key points of Hebrews. As a matter of fact, that's why I like this book of Hebrews so much. I want to actually read a couple of verses from Hebrews. This is Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Listen to God's word for us right now. It says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who, for the joy set before him, endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." What a great text that is, to throw off all the stuff that hinders you, all those even practices or all those things that you think you have to do to please Jesus, and just go for Jesus alone. Run for Jesus Christ alone. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, it says, the author and perfecter of our faith. Isn't that wonderful? Well, I have to tell you about that first verse, verse 1. It says, "Throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." The word perseverance in Greek is the word hupomone. Hupomone, what a great word. And the reason why I particularly like that word, and frankly, this verse, is because of what it means to me personally. As many of you know, I have a small group of guys that I meet with. We were all friends at Princeton in seminary together, and we're all now doing ministry all over the United States. But we get together, we Zoom every month, and we get together at least once a year in person. And we've named our small group Hupomone, persevere. It means persevere. It also can be translated as steadfast endurance. And we call ourselves that, we named the group that because of this particular verse, that we can be the cloud of witnesses around ourselves, that we can encourage one another to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus Christ, even in the midst of all the things that the world throws our way, even in the midst of ministry. Hupomone, persevere, steadfast endurance. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus Christ, the author and perfecter of our faith, as we are surrounded by this great cloud of witnesses. You know, it's hard to be a Christian in isolation. Really, our faith is based on community and relationships as well. And that's how we know Jesus Christ, because we see Jesus Christ in one another. And so in that, I encourage you to find that community of faith. Of course, I hope you find it at Lake Grove Church. But you might find those special people in your lives that might walk alongside you, that you could encourage them to keep their eyes fixed on Jesus Christ. Let them encourage you to keep your eyes fixed on Jesus Christ. Have those conversations about encouraging one another to endure, steadfast endurance, persevere in keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus Christ. So I might ask you, who in your life can help you fix your eyes on Jesus Christ? Who might that be? Well, now I challenge you and I encourage you to reach out to that person, or to those maybe couple people, and encourage them to keep their eyes fixed on Jesus Christ, and ask them to maybe do the same for you. Especially as we wrap up the year of 2020 and step into 2021, what a great year to recommit ourselves to fixing our eyes on Jesus Christ. That we would persevere in that we would have steadfast endurance in keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus Christ. That's really what the book of Hebrews is all about. I'm going to read that one more time. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with hupomone, run with perseverance, the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So let's persevere and encourage one another to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus Christ.